Well, I started with GORE in April 1968 in the United States, in Newark, Delaware on the East Coast, not in Germany. And I'm still with GORE to date. Well, after 3 or 4 months, Bill Gore asked me whether I would be willing to start building a sales organization for GORE in Germany. We only had electronic products at that time. Basically, it was wires and cables for high-tech electronics. And I said, yes, I'm interested. I want to learn that. So after half a year already, I came back in November in 1968 and started in what we call today our electronics division. Well, I was very lucky that Bill Gore's oldest son, who is 2 years older than I am, invented Gore-Tex in 1969, 1970, just after I had started working for the company. So that's when the invention came up. And from then on, basically 90% of all the GORE products which were developed after that were on the base of this Gore-Tex invention. Bob Gore tried to stretch Teflon, full density Teflon, when he was about to make that invention. He didn't know he would make it. He put the Teflon in a hot oven, 260 degrees, heated up, took it out with his asbestos gloves and tried to stretch it. And he had, as a result, from a cord that long, a cord which was 5 times as long, but the same diameter. So there was no new material, there was a lot of air in there. This was the invention. Well, the biggest advantage of Gore-Tex at that time, still to date, was the combination of being waterproof and breathable at the same time. And so, first time in history, there was one piece of garment which combined both. That was the biggest advantage at that time. And we had an Italian by the name of Umberto Palese who showed me how to cycle with racing bikes. So I bought a racing bike with him in one of these little villages nearby, and we went. And we realized that we were just cold, so we put a newspaper in front below the shirt to cover us from the air, from the wind. And then we decided, hey, it would be great if you had a jacket which you could use when you need it. It had this long back, because as a biker, you have a long back and you don't want to get wet when you go down the hill and it rains, and you don't want the rain run into your trousers, which is just natural. But it was not available at that time. That's why it was new. And as important, it was very practical, because you could make it in a packing volume, and this had to do with material which we used in construction. So it would snugly fit into a holder for a flask at the bike. We didn't consider this an innovation, we considered this an absolute necessity for the bikers. So I went to Mr. Brüggelmann in Frankfurt, who at that time was the biggest German distributor for cycling gear. Showed him the jacket, he liked it, and I was about finished, and he asked me for the price. And I told him the price, and he almost fell off his chair. Went to the door. Before I opened the door, I said, hey, by the way, you have this for nothing, you don't have to pay anything, just try it. Left him the jacket. Okay, it didn't take 10 days and we got the first order. And it didn't take 3 months and we had sold 500 jackets just to him. We wanted to find out those manufacturers who did bicycle garments and sell them the fabric. But they didn't want to buy any from us because they didn't see the advantage, the opportunity. Now us as bikers, avid bikers, we knew there was a value, so we said we cannot let that go. Let's do it ourselves. Within the GORE culture, it is very important that we have good personal relationships, emotional relationships, not only within the company, among our associates, but also with our customers. And therefore, we put a lot of concentration on our salespeople. And we are willing to pay more for our own sales force, which is more costly sometimes than, for instance, distributors, just to make sure that the customer is served well. And I think our customers realize this over the years. So we usually have a small but fine team which keeps that relationship and which knows everything the customer needs to know. You know, there's a better communication because they are part of GORE. Then there's not a breakup in between on the communication. So our associates have done a fine job. Almost from the very beginning, we always thought we have to look at our customer, who is the biker. What does he need? And what can we do to suffice these needs? So we had a view for the whole system. We always looked from tip to toe, as we say, or from skin, inner side, to shell, to the outside. In the early 90s, we developed Windstopper, which is a very famous brand today as well. And Windstopper has the big advantage that it is windproof and it is used for different products as Gore-Tex. Both are complementary. We looked at shirts, trousers, other pieces, fabric, textile pieces, which were not covered with Windstopper or Gore-Tex, that this was a good idea.